What's up, Knicks Nation? So, the current NBA recession rears its ugly head with a lot of guys still awaiting to sign deals who previously would have had deals done because of the way the NBA was situated. I want to share how the Knicks actually benefited from the current recession. Also, Jim Dolan, the Dolan Foundation actually gave the NBA an affirmative vote of yes. The 2026 schedule was released, and man, we talked about it on the Call Up show. I'm loving it. We'll talk more about it on this show as well. Of course, we got the comment of the week this week. No smoke of the week, but we got word on the street and much more on this episode of This Week Inside the Knicks. Salute Knicks Nation. Welcome to This Week Inside the New York Knicks. I am your host, Karan Pierre, the Objective fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest. You know the vibes, y'all. Welcome to the show, man. I apologize for the mix-up. I had some issues scheduling the show, but it's all good. We're live. Salute to Yuri, J-Tap, Knicks Tape Madness, Discord server, channel members. I see you in the building. What's going on? Speaking of the channel members, I hooped it up yesterday in Brooklyn. Oh my God. Boy, that episode was crazy. I mean, a lot of things happened, and then the phone died. Thank goodness the phone died. You know, typical Brooklyn shenanigans went on. Nobody got hurt, but it was it was interesting. I'm glad that the video did shut down, but then I wound up finding myself in a debate with this dude. It was crazy, man. But we had a really good time. I should be there next Sunday as well. Tomorrow I may go to Yonkers. So be on the lookout for that, channel members. Of course, the call-up show will be returning this Friday, 10:45, as always. Unless I have something, scheduled or planned, it will be 10:45. I'm trying to think if there's any other updates. No. So currently, this is definitely the dog days of summer. We're on episode 11, midway through the off season, and we're going to be talking about all the hot topics between August 11th to the 17th. Trying to think if there's any other announcements, and all the topics you see on the screen we will get to. I think there's no other updates though. Oh, one thing I might have to do. I didn't get a chance to update the products. I will. So I'm going to try to get it done before the call-up show. You're going to see some more products in the shop. All right? So let me move forward. All right? I'm going to jump inside research mode. So for all the people that's watching this show, this podcast is also associated with a blog called This Week Inside the Knicks. You can catch it at thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. And basically, it operates like a weekly digest, right? You come here to see exactly all the things you may have missed, right, for the week, all the hot topics, like I said, between August 11th to the 17th. We documenting the Knicks 365, 7 days a week. Give me 50 minutes, I give you the Knicks. So right now, if you go to blog, you will be able to see all the stuff. So we're covering the off season now. We did the playoffs. We did the 24-25 season, right? And else? Oh, and then we have game reviews as well. But if you really want to see all the news that took place within the last season, all of it is here. Okay, you can go. And so right now, being that we're in the off season, and this is episode 11, and on this podcast, we're not talking about the great John Starks and Patrick Ewing and the old days. We're talking about current events, right? Even when times are not as booming with news, there's always something to talk about. And so you go to This Week's Inside the Knicks, you click on the off season, and you will see episode 11. And you can literally check out all the articles that are there, okay? Because I'm not going to cover all of them, but I'm going to cover some of the or the most intriguing ones, I should say. Now, I'm gonna start this pod special highlights. Now, I do got to make a correction for myself. I haven't been recording all of the birthdays, so these are the birthdays I missed last week. Right, my apologies. I'm gonna give a big time New York City salutes to all these guys. There's a lot of birthdays here, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it. But Paul Noel, he played with the Knicks in 1947 to 1950. Greg Kite, 1995. He was a backup center. August 7th, John Rudd. That was his birthday, and he played in the 70s, the late 70s. Danilo Gallinari. Okay, he played from 2008, 2011. There was an update because we talked about his wife was bit by a shark in Puerto Rico. She's fine. She just wanted to let the world know that everything's good. The baby's fine. Just to give a quick update to that, because we did talk about that before. But salute to Danilo Gallinari. I'm glad that his wife is okay and the baby is unharmed. Cameron Payne, August 8th, who won't be a Knick this upcoming season, but salute to him. Let's see, Ime Udoka, the Rockets coach. He played a little bit in 2006. Of course, the great John Starks, the legendary John Starks. His birthday is August 10th. I'm mad that I missed John Starks' birthday, man. But salute to John Starks. Now, for this upcoming week, okay, from the 11th to the 17th, we have Kevin Knox. Salute to Kevin Knox. He was born in 99. Damn, these guys are young. And he played, of course, 2018 to 2022. Earl Barron, right? He was a center for the Knicks 2010, 2013. Bill Martin, 1962. That's when he was born. And his time with the Knicks, he spent 1 year, 1987. James Donaldson, also birthday on August 16th. He played with the Knicks in the 90s, early 90s. And then Kenny Sears, August 17th. He was a Knick forward back in the 50s and the 60s. And the last but not least, we got Cleveland Buckner, right, who was a forward center for the Knicks in the early 60s. That's all the special highlights for the birthday. So going forward, hopefully I didn't miss anybody. But, I like to start off the show light and giving people their own special highlights. I'm going to move forward. So I'm going to talk about some Knicks stories. Two things I think I want to talk about. So ESPN dropped this the other day. Under the radar concerns for each team. This is an interesting read. I'm not going to go through all the teams. I'm just going to skip to the Knicks, and you can check this article out. Like I said, all these articles are on the blog. So if you see something that you want to do some further review, you can go check it out. Now, sorry, just want to reset my clock. So now, the New York Knicks, right? Our championship odds is 800. I think that's fourth behind Cleveland and Denver and the OKC. I could be wrong. I got to check that. But either way, we're top 5. So here's what they're saying a concern for us is, right? When the Knicks begin training camp under Mike Brown, a few questions will be there. Will he opt to alter the club's starting lineup, right? Will he find ways to plug the issues that Jalen Brunson and Towns provides? You got Mitchell Robinson, who, I don't even mean to click his name. You got Mitchell Robinson, who is somebody who a lot of you guys feel like he should start. I'm not on that train, but hey, if it's something that's going to help the Knicks, I'm all for it. But the data points suggest that Browns would have his work cut out in blending things for the 2025-26 season, and that he'll need to strike a right balance using Robinson throughout the season. That's according to Chris Herring. Salute to Chris Herring, who wrote the Blood in the Garden book. But yeah, so they're saying the Knicks starting lineup, right? This is a concern. How will Mike Brown go? I think, and this is just my thought, I think he's going to lean towards putting a guard in the lineup rather than another big man. Or if he does put another big man, it'll be Gershon or something like that. But I don't think that a double big lineup will be the choice, but you just never know. What are some of your concerns? Is it the starting lineup? Is it the lineup, right? Is it the defense of Brunson and Towns? What is your concern? Okay. So I'm going to get to it. So I'm going to talk about Jim Dolan, the Dolan Foundation. Salute to Jim Dolan. Recently, he's been in a battle with the NBA. And every time the NBA has something for the governors to vote on, he always disapproves, right? He always votes no. So for the first time in a long time, or at least that I could remember in recent times, very rare you actually get a yes. But the Celtics recently were sold, and they were sold for about $6 billion. And we have it here. The Celtics sell unanimously approved by NBA Board of Governors. Unanimously means everybody, including Dolan, right, has officially signed off on the $6.1 billion sales of the Boston Celtics to Bill Chisholm, right? And so the league announced Wednesday that its board of governors unanimously approved the sale, controlling interest in Boston to an investor group led by Mr. Chisholm, okay? So why do you think that James Dolan, why do you think he signed off on the sale of the Boston Celtics? I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why, right? I did an unfiltered thought. Salute to the channel members. You guys can watch that content. I did an unfiltered thought talking about destroying your enemies totally, how the Knicks destroyed the Boston Celtics. To me, this move by Dolan completes the destruction. Why? Usually when you have a team that is sold, especially under these pretenses, there's a lot of change. Like the Lakers, even the Lakers are going to go through a lot of changes. Portland just sold. There's going to be a lot of changes. Luka is going to be the fixture in LA. In Boston, it may be Tatum and Brown. I think definitely Tatum stays there, but everything else is under reconstruction in Boston. So because of some technical rules, the old owner, and I think his name is here. I just want to get his name out. So Wick Grosbeck, he's the old owner. So initially when they were talking about selling the Celtics, Grosbeck was supposed to run the team for the next 2 years. But because he will have less than the required 15% ownership that is talking about right here, he cannot be in charge of the Celtics. Thus, he will be just a CEO, or he will have a title, a high-ranking title in the Celtics, but he won't be the one calling the shots. Is going to give this guy, Mr. Chisholm, he will have the say as to what happens. Now, we already know the price tag that Boston had was over $560 million in payroll. Even if you got $6 billion to put up, you don't want to spend that money. So we know, and I told y'all this in the unfiltered thought, the Boston Celtics are done. They're cooked. Throw them on the grill. I said it before, the moves came. And that's what usually happens when you have new ownership and you're spending just way too much money. So with Dolan, right, you know, he's a contrarian by nature, but to me, this is Dolan who probably wanted to vote no, but he said, you know what, screw the Celtics. Yes, I'm going to approve the move because I don't want to even speak out against this because I know that this will destroy my dislikable rival from a standpoint of having to restructure and rebuild because the old owner is not going to bring in that old baggage. Okay. So that's why I think Dolan said, no, I could be wrong. I mean, said, yes, I could be wrong, but that is news because literally every time Dolan has voted, it was always no, right? Even when the Hornets sold, he voted no. Everything, expansion, everything. He votes no. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out, that Dolan said yes. No, I'm not talking about engagement. I'm talking about an approval of the Celtics sale. Let me see what's going on in the chat before I continue. I see J-Tap's pretty active. Salute to the gamification. J-Tap, you number one in gamification right now. Can you hold it? Oh, wait, you went 1 to 2. 1 to 2 is between you and Yuri now. Yuri's number one. Let me see. What you guys talking about? Yuri says you get perimeter defense with Deuce. OG goes back to the natural position. small forward. Right. I agree. But you can't put, if you start in Deuce, OG would be a power forward. 5 out, that term is overused. Well, you know what, J-Top, to be fair, and I know you want Mitchell Robinson to start. I don't think there's no record of Mike Brown saying he wants to play 5 out. So I don't even know if 5 out is a thing for these new Knicks. Let me see. Hit him up. NJ New York says, would you trade Mitch and Deuce for Dante? Hell no. Hell no. No, I don't want Dante DiVincenzo back. We don't need Dante DiVincenzo back. No, I'm good. I'm not trading Mitch and Deuce. And by the way, you wouldn't be able to do that because they make more money than Dante. And I think the Timberwolves are still a first apron team. Oh, well, you said, and Mike Conley. No, we wouldn't be able to do that deal because Dante and Mike Conley make more than Mitch and Deuce. And you're not allowed to take back more salary than you send out. So you would have to add more money to that deal. Hit them up. All right. Let me move forward. There's some more news of the week stories, but you can go to the blog to check those things out. I'm going to keep it pushing. I'm going to talk a little bit about the schedule. I know we did a call-up show on it, but, you know, this is the podcast. And honestly, on the call-up show, I didn't even have all my notes. I couldn't find it. I didn't know where it was at. Got thrown across the room. But I do got it right here. Okay, this is what I was going to talk about on Friday. But, okay, cool. So there's some things about the schedule that we definitely need to talk about. There's a good article here that kind of like gives a lot of good insight as to what the new schedule, you know, certain elements of the new schedule. Like I said, once again, you can go to the blog This Week Inside the New York Knicks. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This Week Inside the Knicks.com, episode 11. And you go look at the section where it talks about the schedule. You will see this, but it got the key dates here. Definitely some interesting key dates. Of course, training camp opens September 24th, October 2nd, and October 4th. They got the Abu Dhabi games. We got the Sixers. Okay. And then October 21st is the start of the regular season. Now, the Abu Dhabi games, I'm going to keep it real. I don't know how to feel about that. You know, I don't like my guys traveling to travel. I don't know. I guess it's a good look. And once again, the NBA is pushing the Knicks to the forefront. That's the one thing we learned about this whole schedule thing, right? The Knicks, they have 34 national TV games. They're in a 4-way tie with the Lakers, Warriors, and Thunder. The Lakers and Warriors always get the most national TV games. So, you know, the Knicks now, they get their opportunity to be featured. So that's why they're presented in the Abu Dhabi, right? And then, of course, we know the Knicks got one of the early national TV games against the Cavaliers, right? Then December 9th and 10th, you got the Emirates Cup, okay? The NBA Cup. And then if we make it to Vegas, that's where the semifinals will be. And then the championship will be December the 16th, okay? The trade deadline, February 5th. We talked about that with the whole Mikal Bridges, you know, trade scenario. What will happen with Mikal? When will he resign? He signed his deal on the 31st. So that means that the window to trade Mikal Bridges, because you have to wait 6 months after you sign your extension, will be January 31st, and which leaves the Knicks a couple of days if they decide to trade Mikal Bridges. I'm not saying they will, but February 13th, 15th, we got the All-Star break. Hopefully we will have 3 All-Stars in that game, and then the regular season ends April 12th. Okay? So these are some of the top matchups. Like I said, you got the Cavaliers opening night. Cavaliers December 25th. Big game. We going up against the Dallas Cowboys, okay, on Christmas Day at 1 o'clock. So I'm curious to see what the ratings will look like. And by the way, the NFL will be on Netflix, right? Because the NBA has the national TV slots. But then you got January 19th against Cooper Flag, right? You got February 1st against the Lakers, LeBron and Luka. February 4th against the Denver Nuggets. March 4th, OKC. Okay. Some meaningful games in the latter half of the season. Then you got Sunday, March 15th against the Warriors. right? So yeah, there's some, like I said, you can check this article out. There's some more things definitely I wanted to cover with the release of the schedule. And once again, like I hinted towards, I really do think that the NBA are putting the Knicks at the forefront because they know that we are a big deal. And we also get an early opportunity to send Giannis a nice little message, right? Tuesday, October 28th. Mark that on your calendars. That's the first time we'll meet up with Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. You know, hey, a lot of times deals are negotiated around games. Remember when we got OG Anunoby, negotiations started around the time where the Knicks faced the Raptors. And so maybe this might be an opportunity for Giannis to get to see up close and personal what life will be like in New York, right? Because I don't think the Bucks will be that good of a team. They possibly could finish in the top 6, but I don't see them finishing higher than 5 or maybe 6, depending on how the East shapes out. And so who knows what happens mid-season? You know, disgruntled stars usually leads to trades in the middle of the year. So let's see. Let's see what happens. But this would be our chance to give Giannis, you know, a hint as to what to expect in New York City. All right. Now, to my man, hit him up in the chat. January, we got a game. Okay, January 14th. Right. We got the Sacramento Kings. Right. Mike Brown will be returning to face his old team. Right. That'll be an emotional game. You know, I'm curious to see how Sacramento will look, you know, with the moves they've made and, you know, new coaching and all of that stuff. So Mike Brown gets the opportunity to spank his old team. Also, where's the hold on, I got it. To add on to what is this? No, yeah, that was it. Hold on. Where is the oh, right here. Bam. So to add on to my man, hit him up, right? Because he said he wanted Dante. We'll get the opportunity to go up against Dante on November 5th at Madison Square Garden. We will see Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo against the Knicks. You know, I'm looking forward to that matchup. I mean, honestly, y'all, if I could put the schedule up there, hold on, let me see. Let's see. Let's see if we got the schedule right here. Let's see. I'm gonna put the schedule up so we can look at it like that as well. And you guys can tell me which games you guys are looking for in the chat. I'm loving the schedule, you know, off rip. When we look at this schedule, right? And I can still blow it up more. Okay, cool. So when we look at this schedule, you know, you will notice that the first 12 games are very favorable. You start out with a tough game against the Cavs, but in the first 12 games of the season, you only have 3 road games. And I feel like all 3 of those road games are winnable. Not to say that we will win them all, but you got Miami Heat. You go to Miami on the 26th, then you go to Milwaukee on the 28th. We just talked about that. And then you go to Chicago on the 31st. You know, I think those games are all winnable games. And all the rest of the first 12 games are at home, including the game 1 battle against the Cleveland Cavaliers for East Coast supremacy. Then you have Orlando, which is the 11th game on the docket, and that will also be for Eastern Conference supremacy, but it's at home. Right? Last year we only had 5 home games to start the season. Right? Last year the first 4 games were a gauntlet. You know, we had the Heat, who had Jimmy Butler, the Pacers, the team that beat us in the conference finals, the Cavaliers, a team that hates our guts, who wind up becoming the best team in the East. You know, the Cleveland Cavaliers, you know, like I tell you guys, the Eastern Conference champions, not to be confused with the NBA Cup, right? And then, of course, we had the defending champion Boston Celtics. That was our first 4 games. You look at our first 4 games now, you got a lot of the same teams, but Cleveland is the only one that is still a threat from last season. Boston, off the map. Miami Heat, no Jimmy Butler, right? Milwaukee Bucks, no Dame Lillard. All these games are winnable games. I'm looking at the schedule, and I asked the question on Friday. And by the way, go watch that call up show. Did the NBA rig the schedule for the Knicks to look well? I'm gonna say yes, because when the Knicks have a team that they're trying to push, they give them favorable schedules. And that's what we're looking at right now. Some of you guys don't agree. Some of you guys think the schedule is hard. I got a poll that we're going to go over earlier where you guys are pretty much on the same page as I am. What else? We got 6 of our first 12 games are national TV games, right? 6 of our, half of these games is on TV, or 5. I think I corrected myself. Let me see. Prime, ESPN. No, 6. Yeah, 6 of the games. Prime, ESPN, twice. NBC, Prime again, ESPN. Yeah. Half of the games are on national TV. Okay. And then when you look at the first 20 games, right? Only three of the games are are against teams that we predict to be top 3. Top 3 teams in their conference. Okay. Now, Minnesota could do well. I don't know, right? I don't know how well Minnesota will do. I don't think Memphis is a top 3 team. I don't think Dallas is a top 3 team. They could be, but when you look at the first, like I said, when you look at this first 20 games, you really have Orlando twice and Cleveland. And not everybody thinks Orlando will be a top 3 team. I think Orlando will be a top 3 team in the East. Very, very favorable schedule. I'm digging it. Of course, everyone's worried about this stretch post February 22nd. So if you guys can see, hopefully you guys can see. I know it's kind of small, but I'm still reading it out. So once you get to February 22nd, that's when you start to see the road games pile up. You at Chicago, at Cleveland, and Chicago might be a tough game. I don't know, how well Chicago will do. They've been a playing team for the past couple of years. Could they advance to the playoffs? Possibly. But you got Chicago, Cleveland, Milwaukee, right? 3 road games. San Antonio comes into the Garden, and San Antonio is going to be a good team. Then you go to Toronto. Who knows? Toronto may be a good team. There's rumors they're trying to shop RJ and quickly. So who knows what happens with Toronto? Then you got OKC at home, but then you go to Denver. Then you go to the Lakers. Then you go to the Clippers. Then you go to Utah, which might be a tough game because we lost in Utah last year. And then you go to Indiana, which is a team that I don't think will be, top billing. But at the same time, Rick Carlisle's their coach. Right? They still got Nembhard, Mathurin, Pascal Siakam. All these guys got confidence. Aaron Nesmith. All these guys have confidence. So that grueling February schedule is also hard to not notice that. That's a really tough stretch of games. And then we don't know where these teams will be standing-wise by then. But I think a lot of those teams will be formidable. What do you guys think about that? Definitely, if you just joined the show, this is This Week Inside the Knicks, episode 11 of the 2025 off season. We're talking about all the hot topics between August the 11th to the 17th, right? And these are some of the topics we discussed. We talked about Dolan. He said yes. We just finished up the 2025-26 schedule, right? And then we got some more stuff to talk about, okay? Let me see what's going on in the chat. Before I continue, Knicks will be chance 25-26. If the Knicks are healthy, they're winning between 55 to 63 games. Wow. I don't know if we get in the 60s. I'm optimistic, but I don't know if we'll get to the 60s. Juan B says just because a few teams are missing a player doesn't mean the others won't step up or moves be made. Once again, Juan B, Indiana's not missing just one player. They also lost out on Miles Turner, who's a major part of what they're doing. So I don't think Indiana's going to be as formidable because here's what you got to understand as well. Players look better when the star player is there. When you're the one being keyed on, it's a lot harder to do your thing. Most players do not handle that well. When the star player goes down, now all the focus goes on to you. And it's not easy. It looks good in Indiana when Halliburton is there, but now he's not there. Let's see what happens. And you lose out on Miles Turner. Boston Celtics lost the entire ingredients that made the Boston Celtics championships. They lost it. They lost Drew Holiday. They lost KP, right? They lost Cornette, right? They're about to lose Al Horford. Tatum's going to be missing the year. I don't think Boston's going to be a formidable foe. They may be a play-in team who sneaks into the playoffs. If they catch us at a 1-8 matchup, I think we cook them in 5 games, guaranteed. So, yeah. Let me see what else you guys talking about. J-Tap says the NBA can't rig the season if the entire East sucks. That's true, but what they could do is not give us a top 3 Western Conference opponent, right? Like I said, once again, I don't know if Minnesota is going to be top 3. I don't know if Dallas is going to be top 3. I wouldn't put them as top 3. But you know what I don't see in the first 20 games? I don't see Denver. I don't see Oklahoma City. I don't see the Houston Rockets, right? Those 3 teams right there, we predict they're definitely going to be top 4, top 3 Western Conference teams. I don't see the Lakers. The Lakers finished top 3 last year. So we got a lot of we got a lot of Washington, right? We got the mid-tier teams. We got Miami, a lot of Miami, right? We got some Brooklyn up in there, right? We got Boston up in there. I mean, teams that are not going to be top 3 teams. So when we say rig it, of course, it's a little bit of sensationalism, but it's just making sure you give your good teams favorable schedule. So if you don't like the rig world, we could change it for a favorable schedule. Let's see. Who in the East will leapfrog? Next Ruby Chan says, who in the East will leapfrog to become as good as Indiana and Boston were last season? Good question. Would you count Orlando? Because Orlando was they were the 5th seed. I think Orlando is a top 3 seed, and they might be a number 2 seed, depending on what Cleveland does. If Cleveland comes out slipping and tripping, I could see Orlando being a number 2 seed easy. 100%. I'm not sure about Detroit. I don't think I would put Detroit up there. I don't think they're ready. Only reason why I put Orlando up there is because if they are healthy, they shown you they were number 2 seed last year. They were top 3 last year, 100%. But they got injuries, so I'm basing it off what I already seen from Orlando. I don't think Detroit's going to be top 3. Detroit could be top 4. I don't think they're going to be top 3. I don't think Detroit ready for that. Cleveland would really have to fall off for Detroit to be a top 3 team. Or we fall off, to be objective. As far as the Knicks winning 60 games, I don't know about that. I'm not 100% on the Knicks winning 60 games yet. I do think we could win in the high 50s, though. JJ said, why can't I see Yuri comments? I don't know. Yuri, can you see JJ? Yuri says he thinks the Knicks will win 54 games. Maybe. But get them likes up, y'all. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. I'm going to keep it pushing. So we talked about the schedule. Definitely check out the call-up show as well. That was a really good show. We answered a lot of questions about the schedule, and we talked about some other things as always. That's Fridays at 10:45. We will be back this Friday at 10:45 p.m. It is a night show, so if you're a vampire or if you just ain't got work on Saturday, you just like to hang out a little bit on Friday, come hang out with us. Call up and let us know your thoughts. So I'm going to start this off by saying I told you so. This next article I'm going to get into, I'm starting this off by saying I told you so. And I don't want to think like people are just like, using the videos and using the content for their content. But I'm going to start this next one off by saying I told you so. So Nick's second apron fate could hinge on this quiet Bridges decision, okay? So when New York Knicks and Mikal Bridges agreed on a 4-year, $150 million deal, right? Many were quick to point out that Bridges took $6 million that he could have less. I'm sorry, that he took $6 million less than he could on the deal. While that doesn't seem like very much, a team dancing around the second apron, it could have big implications. I once again, the $6 million, I don't consider that a sacrifice. Like what Brunson did was a sacrifice. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Mikal Bridges did not sacrifice hundreds of millions of dollars. Right? He didn't take the complete max, but I wouldn't consider that a sacrifice. That's negotiation. Yo, help us out. We need a couple of $1 million to make sure we get some guys that like a Michael Brogdon or somebody like that, right? That's all that is. That's business negotiations, right? This season with Bridges extension, the Knicks will be hard capped at the second apron. To clarify this, the reason why, to add to it, the reason why we're hard capped is because we signed Gershon Yabusele for the $5.7 million. Once we sign them for that, because that's something that a second apron team can't do, which is spend 5.7 on an exception, that automatically hard caps you, and now you cannot enter the second apron, for the record. So that's what got us there, okay? And that was before the Mikal Bridges extension. By the way, the Mikal Bridges extension also has nothing to do with this season. It has everything to do with the following season. Just for the clarity, okay? Just for clarity. Speaking with SNYZ and Begley on the Putback Show, cap expert Keith Smith talked about why discounts matter, saying the Knicks have gotten themselves into a situation where they're in pretty tight margins, and if they're going to continue to push up against the second apron, it really will matter, right? That's the money that we're talking about, okay? Now, Jalen Brunson, his sacrifice was for this season. Jalen Brunson, just for the record, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, or I'm going to use that same context for a later point. But I just need people to understand that when Brunson sacrificed what he sacrificed, it was to give us another year to see if this team is worthy of going into the second apron, right? And this is where I say I told you so. A lot is riding on this year. If the Knicks can prove that they have the right group of players on this rosters by reaching their first finals of the century, there's always a chance that ownership is comfortable going into the second apron for at least a season or two while they try to win the title. But listen to this. That said, they come up short or lose early in the playoffs, it might be more likely that they make a major shakeup rather than dealing with all of the tax punishments like Boston or like whoever, the Suns. That will come from keeping this roster together. They have more big decisions to make before then, like what to do with Towns and Mitchell Robinson. So that's part of the reason why Towns ain't signing right now. But definitely the reason why Mitchell Robinson is not signed right now. And like I'm telling you, Mitchell Robinson, guys, the longer Mitch goes without an extension, the more I think he's going to get traded. 100%. If he enters October, if he makes it to October with no extensions, good chance he gets traded. I'm not going to say it guarantees the trade, but I'm going to say I told you so. Right? Everything that's stated in these last two paragraphs, I've been telling you guys. The window is not 3 years. The window is 1 + 1 + 1. Why do I say that? The Knicks have to make it to the finals this year. If the Knicks don't make it to the finals this year, some of your favorite players won't be Knicks next year. 100%. There's no way I could see us getting bumped in the second round by the Detroit Pistons and you think they're going to come back with the same team and we're going to continue to build. No. Leon Rose shows you every year he's willing to trade a starting caliber player. Every year we've had a starting caliber player traded. Every single year. Or traded trade, yeah. Let's just put it at traded. And then we also signed guys that became starters too, but every year there's a trade. Where starters go. So don't think that Leon Rose is going to be gun shy now. And my fault, I had the topics blocking it. Don't think that he's going to be gun shy now. I'm reading this article, and by the way, there might be a little bit more I didn't touch on here. Definitely go to Daily Knicks, check it out. You can find it under the smoking hot topic section. But I've been telling y'all that all season. The window is not 3 years. It's a 1 + 1 + 1. And how you get the +1 is by making the finals. You make the finals, you extend the window +1 years. Then from here, there's going to be a new barometer for success. Will it be the finals? I don't know. Maybe next year, then it becomes championship. But it's a 1 + 1 + 1. I'm probably going to touch on that a little bit more, but I'm going to keep the show moving. Let's see. I'm going to move on to... I don't want to talk about Mitchell Robinson and the star lineup. I don't care about that. Let me see. Okay, I'll go here. So all of this is all interconnected, right? Knicks could be on the verge of doing something they hadn't done in 30 years. And that is 3 years with 50+ win seasons in a row. So a lot of you guys are talking about 60 wins. I don't know about that, but I do think that I would say I'm probably 90% sure, maybe more, that this team will get 50+ wins. And this hasn't been done since the 90s, since the Patrick Ewing era. That's a big deal. It's a very big deal. But it's not going to be enough. This team has to get to the finals. Period. So while the regular season wins is great and you can be a regular season champion like the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's not going to get you anywhere. Cavaliers got severe decisions to make because they are a second apron team. Cleveland Cavaliers, the Orlando Magic, the New York Knicks. One or two of those teams are going to be blown up. 100%. Cleveland Cavaliers, second apron team. New York Knicks, first apron team. Orlando Magic, first apron team. Orlando Magic, the reason why I say one or two teams, because if the Orlando Magic go to the second round, they could come back because now they've never been to the second round, right? So that might give their base a little bit more confidence. But if the Cleveland Cavaliers gets bumped in the second round again, they can't afford to bring that team back. They let Ty Jerome go for a deal that was similar to what the other boys got. What's his name? The guy they kept, the 6'4" dude, Merrill. They couldn't give Ty Jerome $39 million. But they give Merrill $39 million around that for more years. That's what's at stake. So this year is bro, I'm telling you right now, this year is going to be intense, bro. Going to be intense. Jobs are on the line. Players are going to get traded. Serious stuff. This is a good article. I'm not going to touch on it, but talking about the new coaches, PJ Saint and Chris Gent offensively, they're like two offensive masterminds. If you want to check that out, go check that out. It's under the smoking hot topic section. I don't got time because I got to move a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time on. It's a lot of interesting stuff here. And I'm trying to get through the most imperative. Then this is another good article here. I'm not going to talk about it, but the duo, how those two coaches can help unlock Brunson and Towns, right? 2-man game. We talked about it before. But yeah, I'm not going to go through that. If you want to check it out, Smoking Hot Topics. Let's see. I'm not going to talk about concerns. You know what? I might highlight concerns. So this is another ESPN article that talks about concerns for contenders. And I'm just going to scroll down to the Knicks. If you want to see all the other concerns, you can go, check it out. Like I said, everything is under the smoking hot topics. But did we just talk about this? Oh yeah, we talked about that. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm not going to read. Yeah, we did. We talked about that in the other section. The concern basically is the starting lineup. Which lineup will he go with? Do you guys care about the 2K ratings? I mean, only thing I use 2K for, like, to apply to the real world, is I use 2K to see a list of like power forwards and small forwards. I mean, that's all it really can do. It can't tell me about these guys in the real world because it always updates. But here's something interesting. So in NBA 2K, in terms of the top 10 mid-range shots, Mikal Bridges is not in it. And they got Deuce McBride at number 9. How you guys feel about that? I don't understand how Bridges is not in the top 10 of mid-range shots. I would put him up there with Jokic at 98. But hey, I'm not the video game creator. But do the games even matter? Because, in real time, they update. Because, you can't always predict. You don't know what the hell going to happen in a year. Like, even if you play, because I got the older 2Ks, right? So if you play the older 2Ks and you simulate, a season and you look like at the player's projection, they got dudes that are not even, you don't even know who these dudes are anymore. And they're like 86 overalls. What do you guys think about the 2K ratings? Deuce McBride, no. I don't. It's just a game, I guess, but let me see. Stat swings. Do I care about this? This is another interesting article from ESPN. It talks about one of the most important stat changes for each team. I'm only going to go look at the Knicks. I mean, if you want to check this out for all the teams, you can. But here, I thought this was interesting. So the interesting stat swing for the Knicks will be the 940. What is 940? The 5-man lineup of Brunson, OG, Hart, Mikal, Karl-Anthony Towns played 940 minutes in the regular season. By far the most in the NBA. The only other lineup, which was the T-Wolves starters, had 714 minutes, right? And basically the list of lineups that achieved 500 minutes, okay? And so that was given under Coach Tibbs, of course. So what happens now with Mike Brown? Does he keep that together or does he decide to break that up? Because the plus minus stat, which, okay, if you want to look at it, let me see if they got it here. So, but contrary to expectations, the Knicks starters didn't mesh all that well. Despite their Villanova connections and theoretical positional balances, the group finished with a plus 3.2 net rating, which sounds okay, but is actually below average for high usage lineups. The 50-man units with the most playing time this season finished with an average net rating of 5. So according to the analysis, the NBA advanced stats data, then the playoffs, the Knicks starters had a minus 6.2, as the team relied on lineups with reserves like Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride. So, like, besides the center and big man arguments, Deuce McBride had the same plus minus as Mitch, same defensive rating as Mitch. So everything you feel like you want to use for Mitchell Robinson starting, I could do the same thing with Deuce McBride because Deuce McBride was the plus minus guy. He took over from OG Anunoby. He was the plus minus guy. He was a plus 32. He had the highest plus minus of any other Knick in the playoffs. So I thought that was interesting. 940. And let's see. Oh, I got one more I told you so. I'm gonna do this one quickly. I got one more I told you so. So how many of you guys remember me talking about this like a month ago? Knicks got crushing news about key prospect. Right? Landry Shamet is officially the favorite to receive one of those spots, the roster spots. right, for the Knicks, right? But it comes with one concession. Speaking on the putback, right, SNY, Ian Begley said, if I'm guessing it ends up with Shamet getting one of those spots. But Ian Begley, like I talked about last week, I don't know if there was an error on his part or an error for how he thought it would go. But last time, Ian Begley was quoted for saying that Kevin McCullough will get the rookie spot. I told y'all a month ago that Kevin McCullough is not a rookie. He cannot get the rookie spot. So if you sign Kevin McCullough, then you can't sign Landry Shamet. I told y'all that a month ago. I called it the Kevin McCullough quagmire. Salute to my people that are on TikTok, because I dropped a short on there at least 4 weeks ago talking about the same thing. And people are acting like they never heard it before. Okay. So, but listen to this. His prospective return fits the need for another perimeter player who could space the floor and soak up minutes, right, at the 2 and the 3. He's not a 3, but we played him at the 3. It's also only possible thanks to Gershon Yabusele taking slightly less, right? We talked about that before. Unfortunately, going this route requires the Knicks to use their 14th spot on a rookie minimum deal that would automatically rule out McCullough. I've been telling y'all that for the past month. Many wonder whether McCullough might qualify for a rookie minimum or even the second round exception, since he spent last season on a 2-way contract. As Sports Track Keith Smith outlined while talking to Begley, this doesn't fly under the collective bargaining agreement. So McCullough has the year of service now. I told y'all this because he was on the 2-way contract last year. That would put him as a 1-year service player. So it's a slight bump. It's a little over $2 million that he would get. We only have $3.7 million left, meaning that you do not have enough money to sign another veteran. You can sign a rookie, but you can't sign another veteran, right? So, and then the big question has been, can he do that second round pick exception, right? I'm under the belief, and I confirmed this with a handful of people around the league, that he is not eligible to do that because he already signed the contract. No, that the second round exception is for the first year. Okay, it's the initial contract signing. That's when you get the exception. You cannot do it for the second year. That's why the second round exception, that would apply to Diawara. We could go get him if you want. Okay. So I just want to say I told you so. I don't want to be petty, but yeah, I said that like a month ago. I was saying that when I did the off-season show. This is why you guys got to subscribe, man. Hit that like button, man. Let me see what you guys talking about in the chat before I continue. Thank you, Tiz, for never playing Kevin. Well, to be fair, Yuri, he missed a lot of the year because he had an injury. Remember, he came back really late. And by the time he came back, you had DeLon Wright and all these other dudes that were getting minutes, and there was no way Kevin McCullough was going to get time above the other veterans who themselves wasn't getting no goddamn time. So you can't necessarily blame that on Tibbs. He wasn't healthy, and they did have high expectations for Kevin. That's why they drafted him. Let's see. J-Test says you're doing something with the numbers because you ain't commenting. That for me. Oh, you talking about the gamification? Okay, let me stay out of the gamification wars. I'm gonna stay out of there. Let's see. Knicks will be champs. Juan B is the Kobe RIP worship that gets me aggravated by Laker fans. HRM said, who cares about what 2K says? I'm with you, HRM. JJ said, that's crazy. Bridges mid-range is elite. Yeah, I don't understand that either. I didn't understand that. Like, it's one thing to have Deuce up there, but it's another to have Mikal up there. That's just weird. I don't know how they were qualifying that. Hit him up says Cleveland only won those games because of Ty Jerome. They're not really a threat this season. I agree. I don't think that Cleveland is better than us. They might finish with a better record than us, but I don't think they're going to be better in the playoffs. Okay, yeah, talking about the Lakers. Ooh, I like what JJ said. That's why I say it's not about the regular season. I care about how many wins we get in the playoffs. That's facts. By the way, if you just joined the stream, this is episode 11 of the 2025 offseason This Week Inside the Knicks podcast. And we talked about these topics here. These are the main topics. I didn't get to the recession yet. Trust me, I'm going to get there. Slowly working my way towards there. Dolan says yes. Dolan says yes. And I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about a board of governors vote. Let's see. Also, we talked about the 2026 schedule. I didn't get to the Knicks fans. Ooh, do I got the Knicks fans? Hold on. Damn. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. I don't think I got it. Oh, I got it. Okay. Yeah, I got it. We're gonna talk about the Knicks fans. When I get the word on the street, I'm gonna talk about the Knicks fans chip. I got the article. And then we're gonna get the comment of the week, word of the street, and much more, and a couple of more. Not much more. Before I continue, I didn't get a chance to update the shop. I will update the shop, hopefully by the call-up show. I just forgot. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm gonna add more products. Right now we got the mugs, we got the t-shirts. Definitely go check it out. I got the t-shirt right behind me. Okay. That's the Bodega Cat. We got mugs. We got different colors. We got it in, they call it the natural color. And we got it in white. Okay. Right. We got the Captain 11 mugs. This is the best seller, the white Captain 11 mug. Everybody loves it. It has the New York City skyline inside the Captain. Okay. You could get this at shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. You could also find this on This Week Inside the Knicks too. If you scroll all the way up, you will see shop. You click on shop, it'll take you, bam, right here. Let's see, bam, right there, right at the shop. So then, of course, it's getting ready to be fall, believe it or not. We got the hoodies on deck too. I'm gonna start pushing the hoodies hard too, but definitely check out shop.thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. You could also go to shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com. It'll take you to the same website. But I'm gonna keep it pushing. Let me get out of the shop stuff. So let me write a note right quickly to make sure I don't, because I want to talk about the championship, because you guys, a lot of you guys believe we could win the championship. We're gonna touch on that. We definitely gonna touch on that. And it's all tied to the window. The window being 1 + 1 + 1. It's not a 3-year window. So 1 plus. I might have to do. You know what? Let me write that down. We might have to do a members only chat on that. 1 + 1, the Knicks window. I think that might be a good show. Hopefully y'all feeling that. We're gonna do that. Knicks window. Is it 3 years or 1 + 1? You know what? We might have to put a panel together for that. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that. If I don't do a panel, I'm gonna do something. Let me continue though. So that was the smoking hot Knicks topics. There's not much in the free agency front. I mean, pretty much the same free agents are available. This is like a rough list. Russell Westbrook is out there. Kuminga is still a free agent, but he's restricted, so more than likely he'll get the qualifying offer. Of course, you got that 6'10" dude whose name I don't want to say. Al Horford hasn't officially retired yet, so he's still available. Cam Thomas is another one of those restricted dudes that's going to get the qualifying offer. I don't know about Josh Giddey. They're like $10 million apart. I don't know. And Quentin Grimes is more than likely going to sign it. But free agency is kind of dry right now. I think I have a theory as to why it is dry. I think it has everything to do with Giannis. I think that teams are realistically still waiting. A lot of teams are still waiting on what Giannis decides to do because he hasn't made a decision, right? We're all in limbo. And somebody on Twitter, right? Damn, I don't remember their name. I got to get back on Twitter. I completely neglected my Twitter account. I don't know why. I used to be a Twitter guy back in the day, like early Twitter days. And then I kind of felt like within the last, I want to say like 10 years, I hadn't really, or maybe 8 years, I hadn't been a Twitter guy like that. I hadn't, even my page, TOF on Fire, that was my old company's page. I changed it to TOF on Fire. And I was a big deal on Twitter, but it's hard I got to get back on there. But somebody on Twitter, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's TOF on Fire, right? Somebody put up there and said that there's a reason why the Knicks hadn't made any moves in August. They're waiting till August 29th. This is what this person said. Didn't say the reason why. I think it has something to do with this guy. But nonetheless, his teammate Bobby Portis went out on a limb and said, there's no rumors, there's no way that he leaves the Bucks. This is what he said, right? And this was Shams reported. I mean, what's wrong with our team? Why can't we do it this year? The only thing wrong with us is people being hurt. Do y'all agree with that? You think the reason why the Bucks hasn't won the championship post 2022 is or post 2020 when they won it, 2021? You think the reason why they didn't win it was because they were hurt? No, 2022 they won it. Post 2022. So we win championship 22. We came in and we go down. We lose game 7 to Boston 2023. First round. Giannis tries to dunk on Kevin Love, come down, hurt his back. We don't have Big Fella in 2024. I mean, okay, so to me, that sounds like excuses why you lost. Doesn't show me why you would win the championship. Giannis hurt his leg against the Celtics in the regular season, then doesn't play another game, right? Then coming back this year, we hadn't really been healthy. I don't make excuses, but that's just what the table was for us. Probably we'll see. Probably I love Milwaukee. Antetokounmpo said, will he play? See, this is what Giannis, this is what his teammate said. Probably we'll see. Do you see a problem with that? If somebody asks you, man, yo, you going to the park today? And you say, probably, we'll see, probably. What is that more likely? Is that more likely a yes or no? Because Giannis said, probably, we'll see, probably. I love Milwaukee. He didn't say, yes, I love Milwaukee. He said, probably. He don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. And so earlier this month, Sham said that Antetokounmpo has yet to ask for a trade, but he might not be fully committed to the Bucks at this point in time in his playing career. This is the last major report from Shams on Giannis. We still don't have nothing definitive saying that Giannis will be back or Giannis wants to stay. And he also can become, this is key, and this will tie into the flagship topic, which we will talk about next. Antetokounmpo can become a free agent in 2027. Okay. So plot thickens. So look, because he could become the free agent in 2027, they don't have an extension signed by 2026 all season. The trade for Giannis definitely will be activated. Okay. So interesting stuff. Portis is saying, nah, that's his homie. He ain't going nowhere. He loves it here. Giannis is saying probably. We'll see, probably. And that has the league in kind of an uproar. But anyway, yes, man. Continue to smash the like button. I'm getting ready to get in the flagship. Buzzer Beater says, Karan, do you create content full time? I would say yes and no, because this is not my only thing I do, and also this doesn't pay a lot of the bills. So, but I do spend a lot of time doing Knicks content. I mean, I eat, sleep, and breathe Knicks content. I trust me. I'm up at 3 a.m. reading news. So it's like, I'm watching. When the season's on, I watch so much basketball, right? I was joking yesterday to all the channel members that watched the Objective Fan Hoops video. This dude came up to me. He was joking because he subscribed to the channel, one of the guys from the park. A couple of people from the park that said they stumbled onto the channel. Anyway, He's like, yo, what does this guy know about me? He was joking, but he said, I've seen your show. What do you know more than me about the Knicks? I've been watching the Knicks for X amount of years. I said, listen, bro, I watched the games twice, right? Not only that, I watched the opposing teams twice before we play them. Then I also read every single piece of news. Not only do I read every single piece of Knick news, I read every single piece of NBA news. So I'm well informed. So that's why when I get on the mic, I just know what I'm talking about because I just read so much. You know, I'm very well read. And that's why I'm able to pick up on things a lot faster than some other platforms and some other people because I just make the connection. Like the Kevin McCullough quagmire, I've been talking about that before anybody else brought it up. Because I was like, wait a minute, Kevin McCullough is not a rookie. So I did some digging. I said, yo, can a rookie, you know, a guy who's a second year, can he sign that minimum? No. He gets the 1 year of service minimum. And it's on a sliding scale. We talked about it. So, you know, I just do a lot of reading, Buzz Beater. Keep it real. Maybe, you know, even though this is not the only thing I do, but let's say I treat it like it's the only thing I do. Another kid from Coney, yo, what's good? How do you become a member? Oh, if that's UCI, click on the join button. Now, on your phone, I'll demonstrate. On the phone, right? Damn, you know, I could have really showed you. I'll set that up. Next time, I'm gonna be able to show y'all when I tell y'all to join the channel. Next time, I'm gonna have it set up where I'm gonna have it on the screen. I'm gonna show you what it will look like on the phone screen. So I'm gonna do a quick. So everybody who wants to join, I'm gonna give y'all a quick tutorial on how to join the channel. Right? It's very simple. I just need to go on. I don't want to be on my channel. So hold on. I'm logging into another channel. And that's a good one. Thank you, kid from Coney. That's a great idea. I'm going to actually have it on the screen to show y'all how to join because a lot of people don't know how to join or they don't see it. It's not like right there. So let me show you how to join. I'm going to walk you through it right now. So when you get to the profile page, right, you see that's the profile page. It should be a join button there. I'm using Android, right? So I don't know if iPhone is different. But when you click the join button there, you see it right there. Oh, my bad. See it right there? I'm sure you can see it. It's a white button that says join. The start a Knick fan package, you hit it, bam. And then it'll ask for your credit card information. Right? So you just go to the channel page. Now on the video, let me see. I don't know if it shows it on the video. Nah, you can't do it from the video. So if you're watching the video, right? So we watching the video. So you click on the channel name. It'll take you to the channel page. And that's where you can join. All right? To all the people that, you know, want to join. I'll talk more about the benefits later. Let me see a couple more comments but salute to UCI if that's you. I think that is you. Oh, Buzzerbeater said, Karan, you make it easier to follow the Knicks. Thank you, Buzzerbeater. I do appreciate that, man. And that's what see, the two, my purpose for doing YouTube, right? Because some people don't understand the concept of doing content, right? And it's like, why do you do it, you know? And I tell them, my two reasons is one, right? I want to balance the scales, which is like, there's so much misinformation and just people just putting out nonsense. So I got to come with a level-headed approach. That's always been my first reason for doing this. Two, I like to connect with other Knicks fans, but I'm taking it a step further. I want to make your guys' lives a lot easier. That's what my role is, to enhance the fan experience, right? Explain certain things that are crazy complicated, right? Like the salary cap and the aprons. Bro, one time in the Discord server, question came up about the salary cap. or some I was missing, right? I spent 2 hours, bro, trying to figure it out. And I put in the Discord, I got it. And it took me 2 hours to figure that out. Not too many people going to do that, right? Because, your guys got families, businesses, you love the Knicks, but you ain't got no damn time to read no articles. So, because I do it and I get it, I grasp it so quickly. That's what I do. That's why I tell you guys, you got to subscribe, man. I was telling the guy in the part 2, he said, man, I haven't really been keeping up with the Knicks for the past 2 weeks. I said, listen, all you have to do is on Mondays. Now, I know the time is kind of not the same, but it's around noon. It'll be either before noon or a little after noon. The podcast will be on Monday. And on the podcast, I tell you everything you may have missed for the entire week. Okay? So, yeah, definitely hit that subscribe button. And here's another Lucky Walker Visions. I'm glad you said that. He said McCullough will get a 2-way. Lucky Visions. And to everybody in the chat, if you were working a job and you're at a company, you've been working there for a while now, or not a while, you've been working there for a year. This company doesn't have enough money to pay you the upgrade or the raise you deserve. Now, there's another company out there that can give you the raise for doing the same job. What are you going to do? So when you say Kevin McCullough is going to sign the 2-way, that's up to Kevin McCullough, because there may be a team out there willing to give him that $2 million. So there's no guarantee McCullough. Now, if Leon Rose can lock it up, salute to Leon Rose. That's a masterful job. But don't be surprised if Kevin McCullough is not in the Knicks uniform. Is there any truth to Deuce being traded? Not that I've seen. I haven't seen much Deuce rumors outside of fans wanting him traded. But to be honest, I think there's a trade in the works. I do. I don't know who it's for. I mean, we know Bridges can't be traded, but I think there's a trade in the works. I really do think that Leon Rose is going to. He does it every year. Leon Rose makes a trade every year for a starting caliber player. Every year. It's just the reality. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving. Definitely hit that like button though, as we keep the show rolling. Get ready to jump it. Oh, you know what? I want to do this before I jump in the flagship. Gamification. Let me check the gamification chart. So right now, Michael #1. Michael, this dude, every show he finds himself #1. Buzzer beater #2. BK718. Salute to you. First of all, salute to Kings County all day, every day. That's rule #1. And then you got Hit 'em Up NYNJ #4. BS10 258 #5. And Randall Crimsdad at the 6-7 spot. And J-Tap, you're #8, man. You fell off, J-Tap. What happened, J-Tap? I know you busy probably working. But salute to you, J-Tap. I do appreciate you. And to everybody else that's in the chat. Let me keep it. That was the gamification top 10, by the way. So let me keep it moving, though. I'm going to jump in the flagship. Now, this actually caught my eye, y'all. This caught my eye. This is not even necessarily a Nick article. This is one of those NBA articles. I was reading this late one night, right? And it basically just talks about the storylines and stuff like that. So I had to go. I read this whole thing, right? I went all the way to the bottom of the article. And boom, right here. Salute to my man Fritz, right? I don't know where he stands on this, but I know on the call-up show, he didn't think that there was a such thing as an NBA recession. And, we've been talking about the NBA recession for a little while now. Now, of course, when I say NBA recession, I'm not talking about an actual recession like with governments, GDP. The reason why I say it's a recession is because the NBA economy is not producing salaries or deals the way it was when Randall signed. Remember that year when Dougie Robinson got the $100 million? So Duncan Robinson got half of that money, and we still, well, some of us might think it's an overpay. I don't like to say, players make it overpay, underpay. In a market system, you're paid what you're worth. Right? So when you see the lack of deals, and like in a recession, right? You see not all rich people, but you see a lot of the wealthy people still thrive and actually expand their wealth during a recession. And the poor people suffer even more, right? And I equate that to the NBA, what's happening in the NBA, right? So listen to this, from 2013-14 to 2019-2020, the league went through a period, listen to this, with an average of 17 teams per year with cap space. Since then, the average has decreased to 5.1 teams. How you go from 17 teams with space to then 5.1? Teams benefited from the 2016 salary cap spike and extension rules that were not favorable to players. Okay? Since 2019-2020, however, two things have changed. Because of COVID-19, the salary cap remained flat 2020 to 2021, and then increased only 3% the following season. So that would be 2022. Then after the 2 consecutive years increasing 10%, the cap just grew 3.4% in 24-25. How many of you guys see that? So we saw 10% after when COVID was, the restrictions from COVID was over, we seen the cap go back to 10% increase, or go up to, I should say back to, it went up to 10% increases. But then in 24-25, it only went 3.4%. Listen to this. This is why I said it was a recession. And there was another article, I can't find it, that spoke about this, like early in the last season. So ever since I read that article, I've been running with the NBA recession thing. A total of 104 players have signed extensions since 2020-2021. In comparison to 41 veteran extensions signed from 2011 to 2019, 2020, okay? The increase in extensions and lack of growth in the salary cap resulted in 3 teams, Brooklyn, Memphis, and Milwaukee, with room this offseason, the fewest in the last 13 years. So now, to all my people that understand business and economics, you would see how that last line benefits the Knicks and all the other top teams. This is how the rich get wealthier. Because in a recession, well, the NBA recession, right? The teams who already have their stars and core players can weather a cap space drought more easily. Why? Because the Knicks and other teams are not reliant on free agency. Oklahoma City Thunder, right? The Knicks, the Cavaliers, right? They already have their core. So we don't have to sign Joe Blow or, all right. We got Jordan Clarkson on a minimum deal. If Jordan Clarkson would have went to free agency and he just was like, his contract was up and now he had to get paid $20 million, the Knicks and those other top teams wouldn't have got him. We didn't need to do those moves, right? Because we only had a certain amount of money to add to our teams, but our core is already intact, right? And we only have our exceptions, right? The MLE, the 5.7, which we used to sign Gershon. By using that money to sign Gershon, right, it automatically hard capped us at the second apron. And so we couldn't even go over, but there was no need to go over because we got the two players that we wanted and we still got space to get another guy. There may be more buyouts. There may be more waivers. So the Knicks are taking their time in a market where there's a cap space drought. Does that make sense? The Nets are the only team, and I think the Jazz are no longer the team, because I think when they made the trade for Niang, what's his name, Niang, that's when they gave up their salary cap space. So now I think the only team with significant space is the Nets, and they're not spending no money, right? So we used that exception to get Yabusele. And we used, and then we signed Jordan Clarkson to the minimum, the same way the Lakers got Marcus Smart, right? The same way Bradley Beal went to the Clippers. The same thing with Chris Paul. The teams who already have their cores intact thrive right now because you can get good players for less. Thus is why you see Quentin Grimes is not getting a deal. What's his name? Cam Thomas from the Nets, right? Kumonga, he's hurting right now because he doesn't want to take the 2-year 48. He wants more years. That's why we call it an NBA recession, okay? Now, teams with weak rosters and bad contracts, they're going to suffer because they don't have the money to improve their rosters, right? Because there's only a couple of teams with the money, right? And now you got guys like Precious Achiuwa who might have went to one of these teams, but because they don't got the money to give to him, he's still sitting at the couch. Chris Boucher, who was making $30+ million for the last 3 years, in his last deal signed a minimum deal to go to Boston. So that's what it is with the when I say a couple of reasons why the Knicks benefited from the recession. Of course, what also gave the Knicks more flexibility was Jalen Brunson. His sacrifice was for, and let me show you guys. His sacrifice was for us to have one more first apron year, right? And that's exactly what happened. And the reason, and this adds to the 1+1+1 that I was talking about, but I want to show you guys the Knicks sports track so we could look at it. Right? And you guys know I love looking at these salary cap tables. And so hopefully you guys can see it. Okay, cool. You guys could. Now, when you look at Jalen Brunson, and this is crazy to me because you don't see this on no other team where the best player is not the highest paid player on the team. You rarely see that. And that's because Brunson sacrificed. And forget Towns, because Towns wasn't on the team when Brunson signed the deal, right? But OG Anunoby makes significantly more money than Brunson. And you usually do not see that. So Brunson's sacrifice was for this year, because if Brunson would have waited and got what he could have got paid and what he rightfully would have got paid, unless the Knicks would have traded him, Brunson would be at like at least $52 million right now. Thus, putting you well into the second apron. So Brunson's $34 million helped us get Solis. And so now we get another year. This is why I call it the 1+1+1. Right? And so now we could get a guy, a good player, maybe Landry Shamet back. You know, there's a list of guys who we can get. But the recession benefited us because we were able to expand our bench for less, right? It put Bridges in the scenario where you see, all right, the NBA, there's a lot of politics. Why is it, all right, is it ironic that in Kumunga's contract year, in a playoff series, he's out of the rotation? He's benched. His minutes is cut. Is it because he's not a good player, or is it because they're trying to diminish his value? Because if Kuminga goes out there, you guys go to the championship, he's averaging 20 a game, you're going to have to pay that man. So Mikal rightfully signed that 150 because, you got a new coach. You ain't got a deal. That means that the Knicks wouldn't have no obligations to you. Maybe they say, you know what, Mikal, we want to bring you off the bench. Not saying it would have happened. I'm just trying to show you the benefits of how the Knicks are capitalizing right now. Like, realistically, and I know it's not going to happen because we have Yabusele, but if the Knicks would have never got Yabusele, let's say the Knicks would have got a guard. Let's say they would have got Marcus Smart. Just follow me. Rough example. Let's say instead of Yabusele, they would have got Marcus Smart. Do you know that the Knicks, I feel, have a good chance of bringing back Precious on a minimum contract? They're not going to do it because there's nowhere else to go. And we got rid of Coach Tibbs, the guy who did not play you last year. So, did I read my article? I did, right? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I read this. Okay. So Mitchell Robinson, right, is a guy who. All right, so look, where we stand right now is this. When you're looking into next season, because Mikal Bridges gave us a couple of $1 million, I would say probably $3 million back on this year. This deal, I'm pretty sure he took less on the first year, right? Because this could have been a lot higher. But we do have $15 million in second apron space, but we still have to sign 5 players. Now, if you give Mitchell Robinson $10 million, automatically a second apron team. I don't think Mitchell Robinson will sign for that money. But why I think the Knicks will trade Mitchell Robinson is because next season, even though the salary cap for 26-27 is projected to be a 7% raise instead of the 10% raise, there are going to be 10 teams next season with cap space. So now the advantages that the Knicks have this year, being able to get Yabusele, being able to get Clarkson, right, being able to re-sign Bridges, it kind of disappears because now there'll be more teams probably willing to give Mitchell Robinson more money than the Knicks. That's why I think that Mitchell Robinson, that's part of the reason why I think that he'll be traded. Right? And also next year, free agency for the Knicks will be a lot harder because it'll be a lot more teams with more money to give to players who are bought out, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the way the Knicks can get out of this is by trading Josh Hart, trading Mikal. You can dump salary. But when you dump salary, you compromise the effectiveness of your team because you're trading good players away for lesser caliber players. But that's how this NBA recession benefited the Knicks. If you guys got comments or concerns, let me know in the chat. I think Leon Rose did a damn good job. Damn good job. He's listen, man. If the Knicks have first seed Eastern Conference level success, Leon Rose has to be GM of the year. 100%. 100%. Has to be. Because how he's able to avoid second apron for 6 years, incredible. Incredible stuff. But yeah. So all these other teams, they're going to suffer, man. Like, all right. I'm going to show you really quickly just to put a bow on this. But when you look at the standings, especially the Eastern Conference, like, get Boston out of here. I don't think the Pacers are going to be top 4. Knicks and Cavaliers at Orlando. the rest of these teams, I mean, like, what did Washington do? Did they get better, or will they win more than 18 games next season? Possibly. They do got some veterans, but those guys get hurt. Same thing with the Hornets. Did the Hornets, I mean, yeah, they got my man Constantinople, right? They got a young boy. They got some young guys on that team, but it's the Hornets. I think the Sixers are going to be better than 24 wins because they got good talent. They just had injuries. We don't know what's going to happen with Embiid. Brooklyn Nets, I got the Brooklyn Nets falling. I think the Brooklyn Nets probably won't win 15 games next year. I'm going to keep it real. But this is an example of the poor getting poorer or staying poorer. While Cleveland, well, I'm not going to say Cleveland. I'm going to say Orlando, New York, possibly Detroit. Those teams will be better. Even Atlanta, for sure, Atlanta will be better. But all these other teams falling off the map. And the rest of them are just going to stay in mediocrity in the middle. If you're between 6 and 10, you're just mediocre. So, yeah, me land my plane there. Oh, J-Tab, please don't text and drive. Please don't do it. I'm just teasing, man. You don't got to be number one in the gamification, man. Okay? You one of the first mods on the channel. That's all you need, man. That's the only number one status you need. Philly will be tough if healthy. I do agree with that, JJ. Salute to my man Keith Rockets from the ATL, man. Big time salute to you, brother. He trying to get his point across my cousin Lays. Oh, God. Please, J-Tap, don't do it. My man, size 9. Size 9, you might be comment of the week, bro. Of course, home team Mark Jackson is my choice. Are you talking about the coaching? That was the poll I dropped this morning. We're going to take a look at that in a second. Lucky Walker said, no, Lucky Walkers. You get paid what you negotiate, not what you're worth. No, you get paid what you're worth, bro. You get paid what you're worth. There's no such thing as being underpaid, bro. If you sign that deal, you are assigning your value. Period. You are what you worth. Listen, what you paid. And to all my real estate investors, y'all know what I'm talking about. To all my real estate people in the building, right? You are what you worth. And what do we use in real estate investment? ARV. What's ARV? To all my real estate people. I know Keith might know something about that. I think Keith is in the real estate. I know Coach might know something about that. I think Coach is in the real estate. What is ARV? You are what you're worth what you get paid, period. That's it. That's why in real estate, we look at ARV, Lucky Visions. Disagree with that. Cool. Let me move forward, y'all. I'm going to jump into comment of the week. Comment of the week. Now, there's a couple of joints here. I think this is the most ridiculous comment. This is the most ridiculous comment of like the last 2 months. I did a poll, which we're going to read off. Who do you think will be the third option under Knicks coach Mike Brown, right? My man BS10 258. I love you, BS10 258. But Ben Simmons is going to be the third option. You got to stop. It's one thing to say Ben Simmons is going to be on the team. It's another thing to say Ben Simmons is going to start, which I think is crazy. But it's a whole nother thing entirely to say that Ben Simmons will be the third option. Please, BS10 258, tell me that you was exaggerating. Please. Please tell me that you was just joking, man. That you was not serious, and I forgive you. But yeah, that's ridiculous. Ben Simmons is going to be the third option? Man, listen, Ben Simmons might not be the third option on a college basketball team. He might not be the third option on a college basketball team, bro. And you think that he going to come to the Knicks and be a third option? You got to stop. Now, these other comments, this one is a really good one. I'm you know what? I'm gonna do all of them, but I'm not gonna spend that much time. So Anna Grill, salute to you. He said people don't realize that a new coaching program will take time to acclimate. Facts, especially with new pieces and likely a new starting five. Okay, depending on who we sign, with that last spot, and then you got Gershon and Yebu Sali. Maybe that last guy you sign is a rotation guy. That would be fair. Okay. All this delusional chip or bust talk is frustrating. I agree with that part. I don't think that this is a chip or bust. I don't think that you say, yo, if we don't win the championship, let's blow up the team. I don't think that's fair. He said, is chip or bust talk is frustrating. Only leads to extreme disappointment and backlash. Knicks have a 3-year window with the major pieces in their prime to grab a chip. And I do expect another Eastern Conference Finals appearance at bare minimum, and a Finals appearance if we can solve the Cleveland conundrum. They beat our A-hole, or they beat our A all last season. First off, let me just say this. I agree with some of what he's saying, but I disagree with a lot too. Now look, the Knicks don't got a 3-year window. It's 1 + 1 + 1. If the Knicks don't go to the finals this year, there's no way they're going into the second apron yet next year. 100%. I don't see it happening. What are you going to do? Because now, with your 3-year window, you don't go to the finals this year. Screw it. We're going to go into the second apron with the same team, and we're going to try it again. Now, what happens if next season, with your super high payroll, $250 million in taxes, not just the money, because this is New York City and we don't really care about the bread like that. It's the restrictions that come with your second apron status. Certain deals you can't do. It makes it harder to navigate in this NBA world. I don't think the Knicks have 3 years to do that and not win a championship. I don't think that that's realistic, not for where we are right now. Everything that I said on this show, we're at a place right now where the NBA values us highly, right? We're number 2 on a lot of people's predictions in terms of where, each team's title chances are. So don't think you're that far off from a championship. While I agree that, you have the new pieces there, I do think that it's not so many parts that are different that it sets us back. Like now we got to go back down to the first round or something. No, I think that it's just subtle tweaks that Mike Brown will make, especially on the offensive end. We got some offensive gurus. If you get this offense to a number 1 offense and you somehow get that defense to a number 10 defense, this team could win a championship this year. But I do agree. I don't think it's fair to say bust. I don't think that's, no other team, not even the Thunder would say that. There's no team in the league that has that expectation for their team. You at least want to get to the finals. Or even in Cleveland's case, you got to at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? But there's more I want to say on that. Oh, yeah, the last part. If we solve there is no Cleveland conundrum. For the record, y'all allowing an 0-4 last season to be this great cloud. We went 0-4 against Boston. We beat them in the playoffs. I think we would have did the same thing to Cleveland. Do remember we were the last, when we last faced off against the Cavaliers, we beat them in the playoffs. And some of those players that were on that team are still here, like Mitchell Robinson, who gave those big boys in Cleveland a lot of fits. So, he's still here for now. But the bottom line is, I don't give a damn about the regular season champ. And this is what I'm talking about. The Cleveland conundrum, because they're the regular season champions. I just don't agree with it. Size 9, bro, you need to... Size 9, I love you, Size 9. You're a great participator in the chat. But, bro, you just be off base, family. You said, the Wizards going to bust our A. The Wizards. How are the Wizards going to bust our A in a regular season game? Okay, you could lose to anyone in a regular season game. But are the Wizards, like, are we going to see them in a playoff series? Like, why even write that? Like, what was the grand point? Then he says early in the season is real dangerous. Everybody believes they're a winner. I don't think that if I did a poll right now, I'm not, but if I did a poll right now, I don't think nobody in the chat, right? And let me see if I could get a schedule right quick. I don't think nobody in the chat would think that the early part of the schedule, the early season schedule, the first 12 games, is on the level of that stretch in February where we got to go all those road games. Which stretch is harder? The stretch where you're at home for 9 out of 12 games, you only got 2 top 3 teams you're seeing, or that stretch when you got to go to LA, Clippers, Warriors. Which stretch do you think is going to be worse? I'm going to put it on the screen and I'm going to show y'all. Because, yeah, man, size 9, man, I know I think you're a Tibbs guy, right? I think you're a Tibbs guy. I'm going to say this for all my Tibbs guy. Tibbs had to go. I did an hour and 46-minute show at letting you know why he was fired. I was a Tibbs supporter, right? So I believe that Tibbs should have been here. And so I was upset when I first found out that Tibbs was let go. But when I found out why he was let go, I had to let it go. Hopefully that makes sense. But look at the schedule. First 12 games. Cleveland, Boston, Miami, Milwaukee, Chicago twice, Washington, the team that he thinks is so dangerous. Minnesota Timberwolves, Brooklyn Nets, Memphis Grizzlies, Orlando. Orlando and Cleveland are the top teams. I think those are the 2 best teams you're going to face. Now, Minnesota could be really good. I don't know where they will finish. And, Dallas is not in this stretch. And then, so I think Minnesota is a wild card. Milwaukee, I don't think will be a top 3 team. But when we go down in the schedule, right, when we get to February 22nd, all right, this is when it gets real. You're at Chicago, at Cleveland, at Milwaukee. So those same teams you're seeing early, now you're in their house. Then you got Wemby and the Spurs, which might be a tough game. Then you go to Toronto, which is definitely going to be a tough game. The Toronto Raptors hate your guts. No matter how good they are, Toronto's going to play you tough. Then you got Oklahoma City. Then you got Denver, the Lakers, LA, Utah, Indiana. Which stretch is harder? Size 9, you got to stop, bro. No, bro. No. Get out of here. And salute to my man Keith Ford, right? Salute to Keith. I like his commentary. I'm going to touch on this briefly. The Knicks must keep Shamet and add Ben Simmons and send Kolek to the G League and refix his contract for Shamet and add Ben, okay? Also, to protect Mitch, we must keep the power forward and center from the Summer League. And we will be done with all the positions at any time. So salute to you, Cool Keith. I'm going to say this. There's no way to refix Kolek's contract. Right? You don't, this is not the NFL where part of your money's guaranteed. This is the NBA. If you waive Kolek, you still have his $2 million on your books. I repeat, if you were to waive Kolek, his little $2 million he's getting, you're still going to have to pay that. Okay? So even if you waive him, you got to pay it. So what makes you think you're going to be able to redo his contract? Now, you could trade Kolek, and then that'll free up some money. And then you'll be able to sign Shamet and Ben. But you can't do that. So I just want to correct that part. Everything else is cool. I don't understand about having to protect Mitch like he's a star player. But salute to my man Keith. I did want to comment on that, all right? Just for the record, there's no way to restructure a contract in the NBA. They don't do restructured contracts in the NBA. Right? They may do that in football. But in the NBA, your contract is guaranteed. 100%. All right, so I'm gonna jump into word. I think that's it, right? Oh, no, that's not it. Oh yeah, okay, no, I'm on point. I'm on point. Yeah, word of the street. And then I'm gonna touch on, while I'm here, I want to touch on a couple of things. Let me see the chat really quickly. This will be champs. RJ was the lowest efficiency ratings in the league. Damn. Trade Kolick then. Damn. Size 9. How was RJ underpaid? Man, listen, they trying to trade RJ. That's the last rumors I seen coming out of Toronto. And once again, like, see, underpaid, overpaid, who is the judge of who's underpaid, overpaid? That's why I don't like it, right? There's no judge of underpaid, overpaid, right? You are what you're worth, period. You are what somebody's willing to pay you, not what you negotiate. Yeah, what you negotiate is what you're worth. You're negotiating your worth. You could think, oh, yeah, I should be paid this, but if no one's willing to pay you that, then you are, what you're getting paid. And like I said, to all my real estate people, what is ARV? What is AR? To all the real estate investors, what is ARV? That will give you the answer to why I'm saying what I'm saying. Yes, Toronto is actively, according to rumors, looking to trade RJ and Quickly. 100% facts. Size 9, I believe he will be better than Achua. I hope. Well, yeah, under Mike Brown, yeah. The BS name makes sense. Yeah, stop it. Salute the BS. What is it? BS 210? BS 10 258. Salute to you, man. I just thought the comment was kind of crazy, though. So before I get into word on the street and the whole chip thing, I do want to talk about the membership. We talked about it earlier. If you do want to join the channel, you have to do it from the channel. Damn, where's my phone? I was going to demonstrate. Oh, yeah, it's right here. So look, if you want to join the channel, right, all you have to do is, so let's say you're watching the video right now, right? All you have to do, you click on the channel name, right? Bam. And then when you click on the channel name, you could click join. Once you click join, you enter your, you select the package you want, and then boom. So right now we're talking about the starter Knicks fan package. We got two, but I just want to stick here because it's a great place to start, right? When you join the starter Knicks fan package, you're going to get access to the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. It's a closed off members only server. We have great conversations. We be in there debating. I don't see no debates yet. I don't think Knicks will be champs said nothing crazy just yet, but or J-Tap. But we get in and we have really good conversations. We talk Knicks 24/7, all 365 days out the year. We don't stop. This is all we do. We talk about Knicks all the time, and we also talk other sports as well. So all you gotta do, when you join, you're gonna get the link. You hit the link, join the Discord, and it's a great way to extend the conversation with me. If you enjoy, the YouTube vibes, you'll enjoy the Discord vibes, okay? So that's one of the things you get. It's not the only thing you do get. Of course, channel members get the cool little stars. That's what I look at. I see J-Tap right there. He said trade Kolick, right? I see my man Knicks will be champs. Both of those guys were mods on the channel as well. And so when you get the stars, it makes it easier to see who you are, right? Members also get access to members only live chat. Like when I do this, the 3-year window show, it'll be a members only live chat more than likely, right? Especially if I have a panel. I got to talk to my man Ron. I'm gonna see if we could do something on that, because I think that'd be an interesting show, because a lot of you guys are talking about the Knicks have a 3-year window. We'll see. So on those shows, especially when I'm cooking, like when I did the real reason why Coach Tibbs had to be fired, I put it on members only mode because I like to be engaged in the chat. So to still give the members an opportunity to contribute to the show, whether it be questions or comments. That's why I do the members only live chats. I also do members only live streams. Usually it's the Objective Fan Hoops video where I go to the park, I record it, yesterday was some good basketball. It was some some crazy stuff went on. I'm glad I didn't get it on camera, but nobody was hurt. And so so yeah, usually those are the members only live streams when I go hoop. I might go to hoop tomorrow. I gotta see. But those are the members only live streams. Members also get priority reply to comments. So FS Wisdom, salute to FS Wisdom, right moment in time. He's another channel member. He says, I think trading Kolek right now would be a mistake. The reason why I was able to see that comment is because he got the star, right? He has a star. Then he said I would trade McBride before Kolek. See? Let him develop under Mike Brown, right? And boom. Oh, wait, hold on, FS Wisdom. Wait, I didn't know. I wasn't. He said I had to give somebody a two-piece really quick. No. Nothing like. Oh my God, nothing like that, man. Yeah. Put it like this: the last game, my phone died, and I'm glad it died because it got a little dicey up in there. It wasn't me though. It wasn't me. I did get into an argument with this dude because I said, "Yo, I'm the best defender in this park," right? And so the dude, he goes and start asking people, "Is he the best defender in this park?" And they just was looking like, because I'm a really good defender, man. That's one of the things I really do. Like, defense is what I do, right? And so then he goes, oh, well, so then he tells me to watch him and take notes. I'm like, yo, first off, you ain't doing nothing. So I got to watch you and take notes. So then that led to us asking like 10 people, who is a better defender between me and him? And they all said me unanimously. They said me. So yeah, I got into it. It was crazy. I should have just left, man. It was good though. It was fun. I had a great time. I might go next weekend, next Sunday. But anyway, so to bring it back, that's the like my man FS Wisdom, who just said that he saw me almost throw blows. That did not happen. But he's a member, so when I see the star, I know who he is. I also do this series called The Unfiltered Thought. I'm overdue for an Unfiltered Thought. I gotta do some more. It's been the dog days of summer, and I decided to actually talk about it on live shows instead of doing Unfiltered Thoughts. But that's just a show where I kind of black out at 3 a.m. I just hit the record button and I just start talking about, whatever comes to my mind. I did about 18 of those videos. And so, yeah, of course, members always get shouted out and members get a discount on the merch that I showed you earlier. So that's what happens when you join the channel. Like, once again, all you got to do is click. If you're on your phone, all you got to do is click the channel name. It'll take you to the channel page. You click join. That's how you join. All right. J-Tap says, who's my NBA comp defensively? Well, you seen me play, J-Tap, so who would you say? But I ain't gonna lie, bro. Because I got long arms. I get mad steals so if I have an NBA comp, you got to get a lot of steals. You got to get blocks. You got to be able to guard on the perimeter and guard the post. Oh no, man. I don't know who has all of those elements defensively to be able to guard on the perimeter, guard on the post, get steals, get blocks, be able to rebound. I said before, I think I'm like OG Anunoby. I like the way OG defends. Like, the way OG defends is like how I try to defend. Like, you do everything right. Hands up on the shot. You could play the passing lane. Like, OG gets the little passing lane steals. That's like my bread. I get the passing lane steals all day. If y'all watched me yesterday, I probably averaged like 3 or 4 steals a game. Every game I'm in the passing lanes, but my arms is just too long. I'm getting steals all the time. So yeah, OG Anunoby. And then OG can guard on the perimeter. He could guard the post, right? I mean, you gotta be really well-rounded defensively, right? So FS Wisdom says Siakam. I like Siakam. Yeah, Siakam got the long arms too. Draymond, I'm kind of a slimmer guy than Draymond. I think Draymond does have Draymond has, I would say he has long arms too, though. and he guards multiple positions. Draymond is a fair, but I like the Siakam. I like Siakam. I think Siakam is a great comparison for me. Heart will fall. Oh my God! Why did I resize Nas? He said heart will fall off tremendously. All right. Anyway, let me put. Let me do this last segment, right? So we're gonna do word of the street, right, where we basically see how Knicks fans feel. Oh, we got 125 votes on this poll. Okay, cool. Let me I'm gonna start. Let me see. I did a lot of polls this week. All right, we're gonna run through them really quick. I'm gonna start here. How does Jalen Brunson rank amongst the top players in the Eastern Conference? Good question. I'm gonna say he's number 2 in the East, right? So 499 votes. 49% of you guys think that Jalen Brunson is the best in the East. I wonder why you guys think Jalen Brunson is the best in the East. Is it because a lot of you guys don't like my Giannis trade request and you think that Giannis will compromise JB? I don't know. But that is really interesting that a lot of you guys think that Jalen Brunson is the best player in the East. 16% say number 2, and 32% say top 5. I'm surprised about that. I thought that the 32% would have went to number 2 in the East, but a lot of you guys say top 5. And then only 3% say top 10 in the East, which is wild to me. I don't know how you get top 10 in the East when Jalen Brunson's All-NBA second team. So, and All-NBA team is the entire NBA. So I don't know how you get top 10. I shouldn't even put top 10 in the East. Anyway, but the number 1, he's the best in the East. That's interesting to me. Giannis is the best player in the East. I'm sorry, y'all. I love New York. Salute to New York all day, every day. I love Towns. I love Brunson, right? But those guys are behind Giannis. Giannis is the best. I mean, think about it. How many did we say 7 straight All-NBA first teams? You could add the entire Knicks roster together. They don't got 7 All-NBA first teams. Let alone 1 All-NBA first team. Giannis has 7 in a row. And it continues. And more than likely, it will continue this year. I love JB, but come on. Giannis is another animal, guys. We got to stop. We have to stop. Who do you think will be the third option? This is where the comment of the week came from, this poll right here. Who do you think will be the third option for the Knicks under Mike Brown's system? This is actually a very hard question because if magically Jordan Clarkson got the start, I think he would be the third option. But I know he's not going to start, so it'll probably be between Mikal. Oh, damn, I spelled Mikal wrong. Damn, my bad, y'all. I put Mika Bridges. Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby. I'm going with Mikal, man. 61% said Mikal Bridges of the 432 votes. I'm riding with y'all. 36% say OG, and 3% say somebody else. Even though OG Anunoby technically was the third option last year, it felt like Mikal was the third option. I feel like Mikal, he's a proven 20-point scorer, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets back there this year. OG Anunoby, he's never averaged 20 points a game. He's never been a third option. In Toronto, he never was a third option, I don't think, because they had Barnes, they had Siakam, they had Fred VanVleet. Maybe, I don't know, but I feel like Mikal Bridges, how he will be utilized by Mike Brown, hopefully in the mid-range, and especially if he's a small forward. If Mikal Bridges goes to the small forward position, he's an all-star this year. 100%. 100%. Let's see what happens. So this is what I wanted to talk about, right? So before I go into this, I want to show you guys. I actually have The Athletic. So The Athletic did their own little survey. And this was, I don't think this was exclusively to Knicks fans. I think this was for all fans. Let's see. So, damn, am I logged in? Hold on. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. Let me come out. Hopefully, I got my login. If not, I'm gonna have to use the other article. Damn. Hold on, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. Oh man, I got so many. I got so many news subscriptions. I don't even remember what my email and login is. I'm confused as to why this is not even on the computer. Hold on, me. All right, let me try this. Let me try this. 'Cause I don't know what my, and then I would have to go look it up on my other browser. That's gonna take too long. I wanted to show you guys. I might have to just read it off, but I wanted to show you what the Athletic, they interviewed 3,000 fans. Now I'm not sure if they're Knicks fans. Okay, but I got it right here. So this is Daily Knicks was talking about it, right? They did their own article, and which was sourced that Athletic article. But here's the breakdown so you guys can see it. So Daily Knicks says that New York Knicks fans have spoken, but when you read the Athletic article, I don't think they said they only interviewed Knicks fans. I could be wrong on that. I don't know, but let's just roll the dice. So James Edwards III, he was the one that ran it, and it says here that Knicks fans offered their thoughts. Okay, cool. Over 70% of Knicks fans believe the Knicks at least make their first trip to the NBA Finals since 1999. Right? Salute to the Knicks fans for believing in their team. Here's the breakdown. I wanted to show y'all on the pie chart, but it's all good. So 15% of fans said the Knicks will lose in the Eastern Conference Finals. 43% of fans said they will win the Eastern Conference Finals. 30% said they'll lose in the finals. And 11% said they'll win in the NBA Finals. So if you do the math, that's 80%. See, I don't understand. Well, no, each selection is independent. But according to this would be about 84% say the Knicks make it to the finals, because if you win the Eastern Conference Finals, you go to the finals. So I did this. I wanted to recreate this poll. So I asked my own version of it. Kept the questions and the criteria the same. I'm going to say, because I don't want to say we'll lose in the NBA Finals, I'm going to say we win the Eastern Conference Finals. 305 votes. 3% said they'll lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And if we compare that to here, 15% said they'll lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, okay? So we got 3%, 15% on their end. Our end is 3%. And I think that our list is probably, these 305 votes are definitely Knicks fans, 100%, okay? 26% say the Knicks win the Eastern Conference Finals. You compare it to this, 43% say they'll win the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And by the way, the question, just so we're clear, how far will the Knicks go next season if you for you to consider it a successful season? Okay, that's the criteria, which I hope the guys that voted here got that. Okay, so 10% said lose in the NBA Finals, and 30% said we'll lose in the NBA Finals. This is why I don't know if this is Knicks fans. That's kind of high, for a lose. Like usually you see win is going to be more positive, but kind of high. So they got 30%, we got 10%. And then here's the major difference. For our 305 votes, we said that 60% of us said the Knicks will win the championship. So you guys, salute to you guys believe in the Knicks. That's a lot. 60% of the 305 And when you look at here, only 11%. So I'm not saying that what we did is more right than what they did. They got more, they got 3,000. They got 10 times more responses. That this poll is ongoing, by the way. If you didn't get a chance to vote for it, you still can. But I'm questioning that these are all Knicks fans. I don't know if these 3,000 responses are all Knicks fans, right? Nonetheless, the results are drastically different. So keep voting on the poll. Let's see what the end result will be. But you guys, our fans, our people who believe in the Knicks, follow the Knicks on this channel, y'all saying 60% we win in the championship. I'm going to say if we win the Eastern Conference Finals, that to me is a success. I don't think winning the championship makes our season a success. Like, that's the only way to make it a success. I don't like how losing in the NBA Finals looks, so that's why I didn't select it. But really, when you really think about it, the winning in the Eastern Conference and losing in the NBA Finals are kind of the same, if you really think about it. But let's continue. The Knicks' new schedule for the 25-26 season has been released. How many wins will they have during the first 12 games? Okay. This was a great question. We talked about this on the call-up show on Friday. Definitely go check that out. So 245 votes. I'm going to say 8 or more because I'm objective. I think that the minimum amount of wins we'll get is 8. Because you got 4 games that I feel like are pretty winnable against teams that were like sub 500. So I don't see you losing more than 4 games. That's how I came up with the 8 or more. But 46% said 8 or more, 41% said 10 or more, and all the rest of you guys are just non-believers. I'm guessing size 9 is down here, right? And then this question was asked this morning. Was Mike Brown your top choice for the Knicks during their head coaching search? I'm going to say yes. I mean, because I didn't have another coach, so, and I didn't want to put, I don't know. I didn't want a third option. I'm curious to see genuinely how many of you guys wanted another coach, and only 24% said yes. 76% say you guys wanted another coach. That's interesting to me. That's interesting to me. All right, that's all for this week in Inside the Knicks. I mean, I'm sorry, for the word on the street. If you want, you can still vote on these polls. Like, I do evergreen polls for the most part, so you could go vote for them anytime. Let's see what you guys talking about in the chat, and then we wrap up. FS Wisdom is laughing. Let me see. Oh, wait, hold on. I Show Speed from NY. What's going on with I Show Speed? Tatum is extremely underrated. I don't know about that. We need Tatum on the Knicks. I Show Speed. We need Tatum on the Knicks. I think you trolling, man. I Show Speed is trolling. Man, size 9, bro. You gotta stop. Mikkel said, FS Wisdom says it has to be Mikkel. I think so. Hart is a bench player. He will become what he was expected to be when Leon traded for him. I could see that happening. I think he has potential just because he was the best passer on the team. Okay. All right. Salute to the chat, man. I do appreciate you guys for rocking with me, man. Salute. I'm gonna see about hooping tomorrow. I might do a Wednesday show. I don't know. I do want to. I want to do a window show. I got to think about whether or not I want to make it a panel kind of thing, or I just want to tackle it myself, because I'm curious to see what the other guys would have to say. I got to think about that. I'll let you guys know. But the call-up show will be this Friday, 100%, 10:45 p.m. Make sure you're in the building. It's a late night show, but hey, a lot of us got off on Saturday, so we could rock out. On the way out, I do want to give a big time salute to all of the channel mods, channel members, my man J-Tab. Next will be Chance 2526, Yuri, HRM the Great was in the building, FS Wisdom, always supporting and showing love. Who else was in the building? Hopefully I don't miss you. I think that was all for the channel member side. I said Yuri. Keith Watkins, salute to my man Keith Watkins, and the great Crim's dad was also in the building, right? Even though I think this is the first episode. Nope, I'm wrong. Crim's dad is number 8 on the gamification. I'm gonna do a gamification salute on the way out. Salute the buzzer beater for taking the number 1 spot. BS 10 258. Even though, yeah, you had to make the comment of the week this week. Number 2. Number 3 is Randu J-Tap. Hopefully you pulled over. He moved up to the number 4 spot. Salute to my man JJ. He also calls up on the call-up show on Fridays. Salute to you at number 5. Shoquan 9434, number 6. Michael, of course, number 7. Even though Michael always starts out pretty strong, but he always finishes in the top 10. Salute to my man Crim's dad once again. Number 8 on the Crim gamification list. BK 718. Salute. I like that name. Number 9. Hit him up NYNJ. Salute to you. Hopefully you didn't you didn't get too mad over my Dante take. I'm good. I don't want him back. Salute to FS Wisdom once again. Number 11. Blue Simpson. Size 9. The great Size 9. Even though you be saying some crazy stuff. Salute to my man Akuma Uzumaki. Lucky Walker. Old man Knicks fan. B Willis. HRM the Great once again. Oh, my man Nick Shack in the building. Salute to Nick Shack. Keith Ford in the house. Salute to you, Keith Ford. I do appreciate your salute too in the comment sections. And you also made a comment of the week, Keith. Not sure if you saw it. Bodega Wi-Fi. Man, salute to all you guys, man. I love you guys, man. See you guys soon. Maybe Wednesday, but definitely Friday. And tomorrow, channel members, be on the lookout for an Objective Fan Hoops video. That's all I got for you guys right now. And until next time, as you know it, always let's go Knicks.